What's up, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and we are here. We are in June 2020. I almost didn't think we would get here. I hope it finds you well. Let's discuss a couple games coming in June. It is a weird month. Hell, it's not even easy to remember what's happening or releasing this month. There's been more pauses and hesitations and delays and scheduled date change relays for an entire year, just in the last 2 months. And for the most part, that's all relegated to the discussion of one particular game called The Remaining Duders, the sequel. That would have you think there isn't much else coming in June, but there is, and we're going to cover just a couple of them. I'm sure I won't hit all the titles, so comment in the comments on the ones that you remember, want to talk about, or are interested in. So sit back, relax, put them getaway sticks up, and let's discuss just a couple titles coming out in June. Also, only a couple people who watch these videos are subscribed. I would love for you to subscribe if you watch these videos. Hell, if you just want to argue with me in the comments, go ahead and do that. At least you'll know right away when the videos come up. Speaking of coming up, this is coming up number 1. It's Disintegration, which looks a little bit like Destiny 2 channeled through Halo 3, which is a lot of sequels and numbers. Whatever it is, Destiny looks like it's actually a really nice mellow s'mores. Something where you take the shooting FPS moments from all of those games and you rub them up in those golden cheeks of RTS crackers. You are a rebel leader fighting with the remainders of humanity against the rest of the world who are wanting to mix humans and robots into one piece to stave off annihilation, which is probably where Disintegration comes from. You do this while, no joke, flying around on a grav cycle, which allows you to not only take the battle to the enemies with your own weapons, but it's sort of a weird kind of man cursor as you move around and command the different field units who have their different skills to get you through the story. It also has a PvP mode as well and comes from the co-creator of Halo. So it's got a lot of DNA. Let's see if it comes up a winner, or if it's like a lot of us where the only embarrassment you don't feel is when you go to the nearsighted family reunion. But a title that will cost you a bit to check out, but I still think is probably pretty worth it. That's Outer Worlds for the Switch. What can I say? I liked this game when it came out on the PS4, the Xbox, and the PC. Obsidian did such a great job delivering a nice, solid RPG in their style, but not one that was absolutely filled to the brim with fluff or an insane amount of side content. Instead, it was a digestible game for the price and introduced us to this unique world where the future was a bit Fallout 3, a bit No Man's Sky, and a whole lot of tasty dialogue choices. I love these party-based Western-style RPGs, and I always have, and I dug Outer Worlds when it came out. I liked that weird take on corporate life amongst the stars. Doing this in portable mode? Yes, please. And speaking of yes, please, here's a title you probably did not expect. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. While we do have another port on here on the list, as I just spoke about, normally I'm not fully excited about these games, but I never got a chance to play the original. This is brought by Purple Lamp Studios, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom follows that undersea friend group of SpongeBob and Patrick and Sandy as they fight against Plankton. It also adds in a new multiplayer mode, but more importantly, it seems to restore some content that was cut from the original game. I like that. I like the idea, and the gameplay looks solid. This is a title that very much interests me as I am a platformer fan, and I've always liked these kind of games. This game looks to be one that I am highly interested in. But nothing is going to replace this one. I cannot believe we're finally here. Other people are probably going to argue about this. I do not care. I'm right, you're wrong. Desperados III. Wild Bunch, Tombstone, Wyatt Earp, Bonanza. I've been a Western fan for years, Red Dead, but I've never actually enjoyed the games that much. Other than Red Dead and Gun, I really have not enjoyed a lot of Western-style games, aside from Desperados. And when you look at Desperados 1 and 2, they channeled that Western, grimy and dirty, unwashed traits of all the Western times somehow into tactical stealth gameplay, with you playing various gunslingers, working through levels to take out the probably gonorrhea-riddled gangs of all these bad guys inhabiting that larger world that Desperados fiction presented. And to tell you how bad it could get, these games never really missed a beat, but they also never achieved hugely popular status. One time in a group, I brought up Desperados, and no lie, somebody was like, is that the game where you're desperate to date people? And I'm like, Leisure Suit Larry? And they're like, oh yeah, that was the game. Come on. Desperados. It is a stealth game with a bunch of gunslingers in it. How can you not like that? So when Mimic Games decided to bring this back with the help of THQ, I was actually quite excited. This is a group of gunslingers. They're working their way, sometimes alone, sometimes in teams, as they work through the story of redemption from one of the original characters. Now, where Desperados works is it's skill-based combined with that choice throughout the levels. You never have to really kill anybody, and that's that mentality that can mean that most situations can be played out through in a variety of different ways, sort of ping-ponging off the different game styles that you may want to play. And I love games like that, games where everything seems like it's going your friggin' way, and then suddenly everything hits the fan and you have to decide what you want to do. You can pause while you're in particular areas and then unpause to react to what's ever going on around you. Another thing you can do is basically attract all of these horny cowhands towards you by a character who's pretty much a prostitute. I think that is awesome. I cannot wait to play this game. Super excited for Desperados 2 and the continuation of the series. Speaking of continuation of series, you may not have heard this one. It's called The Last of Us 2, so I'll give you a little background on it. The Last of Us 2 is a third-person action-adventure game where you play as Ellie many years after the original game, where the cordyceps fungus has taken over mankind, turning most of them into, well, plant-like equivalents of zombies, plombies. In The Last of Us 2, you take a dive into the darkness that exists in the future of this world after what is pretty much a dire first game. You mix some stealth and action, and the original was always known as a game where choices hurt. In Last of Us 2, it looks like Naughty Dog may have just turned that up even higher. We're gonna have to see. This is a game that's been moved around just like Ghost of Tsushima, but we finally got a solid date for it, and boom, it's here. Now, that's not all the titles, but it's all of the major titles that I thought of. One of the things that did pop into my mind as I was getting ready to film this was Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor. A lot of people out there, and for all of you people, it's basically like this. You either play ESO or you don't and aren't interested in it. But if you are, what you've got is another large expansion for that title. This is an MMO that, while I liked it when it first came out, it has done nothing but improve. And I think anybody would agree with that. Even if you do not like ESO even now, this game is massively improved. It continues to get horrendous amounts of content that's very well done. We get Greymoor as well. Now, moving on from here, I just want to say this once. I rarely bring this up in any more than a passing fashion. I would love for you to come to Patreon. Basically, the CPM for YouTube is absolutely dire now. And unless you're a drama channel or you're dropping the heat on somebody for absolutely no reason, you're really not doing very well when it comes to views or hits. But even worse is the CPM. It's really terrible. So if you get a chance, subscribing really does help. It puts more views on the channel. Sharing this to Facebook, sharing this to, my dog agrees again, sharing this to Reddit, sharing it to various different places. Man, I can't tell you guys, that really does help. You know, I don't do patron videos very often. What I mean is, like, here's why you should join the patron. I try to put them in here, so I hope somebody's actually got some good video and they've decided, hey, this is worth it. But if you get a chance, man, I would appreciate it if you come to Patreon. I think that we deliver a spectacular thing when it comes to Patreon. And I say we because it's not just me. It's an amazing group. It's, of course, the people who help me with the merch. It's the monthly stuff. It's the games. It's everything. It really does help. If you can't, and I totally get this, man, go out there and spread the word. Regardless of all of this stuff, though, the world is in a pretty rough place. A lot of people are having problems. Make sure when you're talking to somebody, take that into account, man. You know, I've seen a lot of people bashing each other back and forth and stuff like that. And it's like, you see a lot of people having a rough time right now, whether they've been laid off or it's just a tough time for somebody, them and their family. Now's not really the time to be hammering on each other. So be cool to your fellow gamer if you can. Other than that, that's it for me. Check me out, Twitter, Facebook. What did I say? Twitter, Facebook. Oh, yeah, Spotify, iTunes. You can see a ton of podcasts, not only the ones on Twitch, but even more so. You also see me doing some collaborations with very small YouTubers in the next couple days, couple weeks when it comes to podcasts. I like doing that when I get a chance, and we're going to be doing that as well. But again, if you get a chance, come by the Patreon. If you can't, I totally get it. Take care of yourselves. I hope these give you some kind of enjoyment, you know, whether you laugh a little bit or whether you find out about a game that you didn't expect was coming, or you look in the comments and somebody alerts you to a title you weren't expecting. I hope those are useful. I hope the reviews are useful to you and you get something out of them, because in the end, that's actually all that really matters to me. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.